Hi everyone, and welcome to my kitchen. I'm just in the process of making the most by far delicious relish. My family has been eating this I've been making it now for over 30 years. I got the recipe from my neighbor that used to live down the street. She's since moved away. Her name was Michelle. And she got this recipe from her mom. So it's an old recipe, and it's called Celery Relish. So what you need are 4 cups of the following ingredients. 4 cups of cucumbers. I peeled mine and minced them. 4 cups of onions. And this is what, like, my husband just ran to the garden to get some more onions because I'm making 2 batches. So that's how they looked minced. I've been using my KitchenAid food processor. Before I had the food processor though, I did all of this by hand or with a grater. And it was a labor of love. It was so well worth it because it tastes so good. It replaces your need for mustard and relish on a hamburger or hot dog or anything else that you put it on. It is delicious. And with the homemade ketchup that I made, we'll be set for the winter. So I said 4 cups of minced cucumber, 4 cups of minced onion, 1 head of cabbage minced, and then 1 whole bunch of celery, not a stalk, but the entire bunch like this. So I've cleaned these up. Sorry for all the bits of grated vegetables around, but I've been whirring this machine like nobody's business. And what I love about this food processor, I got this for such a deal. It was at, we have a liquidation place here. It's called Liquidation Warehouse. And sometimes if you go in there, you can get super deals. Well, this kitchen, here it is here. This KitchenAid food processor was in Liquidation World. Now these things, as you know, KitchenAid is very expensive. And it was returned and it said defective. And I'm like, that's kind of strange. I'm surprised KitchenAid would be defective. But I'll buy it on the chance it said no returns, and I'll buy it because it was like $89 with all the attachments. And I thought it is worth it. Well, when I got it home, when you first put it together, let me just show you this. It sort of locks, hang on. When you first put it together like this, it will not turn on. Like, it just won't. And I think that's what happened when the people got it. It was like, this doesn't work. It has to be locked. Everything has to be locked into place. This has to be, this thing here at the top, see, those grids have to be locked into place, and then it works like a charm. So I got such a deal. I was so happy because just for this relish alone, it has saved my life. So I'm going to go ahead and mince up all of the celery, and then I'll show you what you do next. So that took me to do that entire bunch of celery, probably maybe a minute, under a minute. So I'm just going to put that in the sink. And I just want to show you how to make things more efficient. When you're canning and pickling and preserving and stuff, it's really important to be really efficient and try to keep your place as clean as you can. I always put a tea towel down here to catch all the grated bits. And then on the floor here, I have a big apple barrel with a bag in it, and we will just dump all of that, those gratings from the onions, cabbage, and the celery, and everything else in the compost outside. But it just makes it easy. Just toss it in there, the peels from the cucumbers, everything. Just makes it a little bit more efficient. So here is the large bowl that has in it 4 cups of cucumbers, 4 cups of onions, and a head of cabbage. And to that, I am going to add all of this celery. And look how nice this machine minces it. So you are to stir all of this together and then add a 1/2 cup of salt, coarse salt. I'm using kosher salt, no name, from Superstore, and it is for pickling and preserving and all that kind of things. And you just dump it over the whole mixture like this, and you stir it all in, and then you let it stand overnight in the fridge. You cover it, let it stand overnight in the fridge. And so I'll be back tomorrow to show you the next part. Day 2 in our relish process. So our relish mixture, those vegetables are in the fridge, and they will now from the salt have to be rinsed and drained, and you have to squeeze all the liquid out of them and get it prepared to make it into the relish. And then while it's cooking with the spices, you're going to need turmeric, mustard seed, and celery seed, and prepared mustard. You're going to need 2 red peppers and 2 green peppers. Now I've got much more than that here because we're doing a double recipe. So you need to finely chop these peppers up and put them aside until needed. Okay, so my daughter strained all of the juice out of the mixture, which is quite the job, but we figured out if you put it in a cotton tea towel and rinse it and then drain it and squeeze it through, it's perfect way. So she's doing my batch now. And so in here we have our chopped, everything is in here, the turmeric and the celery seed. But prior to mixing this, the process is you heat your vinegar and your sugar. In another separate small bowl, you're going to add 3 tablespoons of cornstarch and how much mustard? 4 tablespoons of table mustard. And then you add your 1 tablespoon of turmeric. And then you're going to add enough water, stir that up, and add enough water to make a nice paste. Then you add that to the sugar and vinegar in the bowl, in the pot. Then you just pour everything else in. Once that bowl comes to a boil, you add your cucumbers and mixture and your peppers and your celery seed, and you let this boil hard for 10 minutes and put it in the jar. The jars are sterilized in the oven and the lids are boiling here, so they're just waiting to be canned. So I'm just taking my finished relish out of this processed bath. So I have a canner, and I got this at Walmart for 20 bucks, and it had all the things you need for canning. It was a great buy. So what you do is you fill this bottom part down there with water, and then when it's roiling boil, you lower this basket in until it covers the jars and let it boil for 10 minutes. And then when you're all done, you have this delicious, look at this relish. It is absolutely outstanding. My husband had some with a hot dog for lunch, and he was and patting his feet. So this is a tried and true, absolutely outstanding, delicious relish recipe. So if you are a novice canner, give this a try. And like I say, if you don't have a food processor, use a grater. It's a labor of love, but certainly worth every single bit of work that you put into it. Your family will love you for it, and they will never eat that synthetic green hamburger relish again. So thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next time. I'll put the recipe in the down bar.